the seventh chakra, which is about enlightenment. And I'm going to point out this plant here, which is sweetgrass, and tell you about my favorite book, Braiding Sweetgrass. So who here has read that? Oh, I really encourage people to buy that book or read it. It changed my life. So Robin Wall Kimmerer is a Native American who got a PhD in botany, and I mean, if this doesn't charm you, I don't know what would. But when she went to get her PhD, she was being interviewed by the professors, and they asked her, "So why do you want to get a PhD in botany?" And she said, "I just want to know why the goldenrod looks so good with the asters." I mean, I am so charmed by that statement. But her main point of that book is about the reverence that we need to give back to nature that gives us so much. Like nature provides us everything, air, earth, water. And I mean, we're in a place now where the West is burning up. You have to count how many fish you eat out of a lake for fear of being toxic, poison. And I mean, we really need to pay attention. And my real motive, I thought that maybe by making products I would inspire others to care about earth, because wow, like a plant can do that. Like I should be paying more attention. But now I really want to move into more like teaching and writing. But it's like my main motive is to engage everybody that I can touch with like becoming the best earth steward you can be. Like whether you ride a bike 2 miles instead of riding your car, or you just bring herbal tea instead of buying a canned something. Like whatever little thing, because if you look at the big thing, you just drowned. Like I can't do anything. But if you just do what you can do and be the best you, keep polishing yourself up, I believe there's a lot of answers in that. But anyway, this Robin Wall Kimmerer's book totally inspired me, and I encourage you to read the Thanksgiving prayer in that book, which is 17 paragraphs of what we should be thankful for. And I mean, I almost makes me want to cry. Certainly do it for Thanksgiving. Um, yeah, it's kind of life changing. So mothers. So that's why I left this weed, motherwort, in here. Yeah. So this is a weed around here, but it's great for keeping your cool. Again, another nervine. I used to take it when I had little kids, and they'd get so loud. Like when I was making dinner, it would make me crazy. Like just all that. When I would get anxious, and then somebody would say, "Oh, you gave motherwort to your kids." It's like, no, I took the motherwort, and it didn't bother me anymore. So anyway, it's a very bitter herb. Probably it works on the liver for sure too, and it's also a strong emmenagogue, which means it brings on the menses in case a person has cramping, and that's not happening. Um, and I always liked it as one of my favorite nervines. So that's that. And then here's Feverfew. I know it's not a good example right now. They look good in the spring. But this one, we call it Feverfew. It's a classic. I can say without being in trouble, what it actually does is good for migraines. And I used to sell plants at the farmers market in Baraboo, herb plants. And I was selling this one, and a couple times people came back and said, that really cured my migraines. And they say the best way is to eat a leaf a day, but it's so bitter that I'm sure it's working on the liver. And here comes my theory again about if you clean up your liver, what is it going to help? It could be something, whatever is ailing you. It could be, who knows? But these two grassy areas are oats, the cover crop oats, which I do use in the triple lemon tea. They're very supportive of the nervous system, especially when the seeds are in the milky stage, or when you pinch them, a little milky sap comes out. So this is spearmint, and I encourage you to smell my different mints. This is a spearmint, and on the other end is peppermint. Because I've been gathering herbs for so long, I believe that I have the best cultivars, the best smells of those welcome to, if you go in that section, to yank out a little piece if you'd like for your garden. But be careful, you know it spreads. Yeah. And then the white plant, their white flowering plant is called bone set. It's a really good one. Yeah. And it doesn't have all that bitter. Like a lot of times spearmint has this kind of a bitter aspect to it, and this one doesn't. It's just clean, like really fresh. Anyway, this plant emerged as one of the most important plants. And it acts like echinacea to support a healthy immune function, but also bone set, Eupatorium perfoliatum. You'll see that if you look closely, the leaves are merged at the stem there. But the common name, bone set, comes from, part of the story is the reason they call it bone set is because in those previous pandemics, people would have such a fever, they'd cringe so much that their bones would break, like some ribs from the fever, right?
Yeah.
So this is a diaphoretic. It opens things up and allows like you to sweat it out, like kind of like elderflower.
Probably for the kidneys, it must be good for the
Yeah,
kidneys.
yeah, because it's bitter, very bitter. It's not something you want to have a delicious cup of tea. Okay, and then this was some lemon balm that we mowed down because it's just getting too weedy. So we have a lot of perennials in this farm, but even though we keep things so weeded, and we have like staff out here, you know, several times a week, still perennial areas will get weedy, and we have to move the whole area. And this is peppermint. Oh, you should compare the spearmint to the peppermint. Oh, it's so different. It's really fun to taste, smell them both next to each other. So here we have Calendula officinalis. So we harvest these flowers like twice a week. When you have a crop that's flowers, the more you harvest it, the more it'll produce, just like deadheading. So we get like a 10-pound gunny sack full of calendula flowers by the end of the season. Yeah, and we have another crop coming up because they even though we pick them twice a week, they tend to decline about this time of year. So you'll see them when we walk down that way. We'll go up and take a left. So this is rose geranium. It's really one of my very favorite scents, and it's a wonderful skin herb and also good for menopause. So this has, you should pick one leaf for sure, you're welcome to. So it's very rosy, it's got a great rose and yet herbaceous scent, and it has an astringent yet moistening quality. That's what makes it so good for the skin. I really love my rose geranium, and I've been taking cuttings forever off the same plants. I almost lost my stock plant inside. For sale plants are in the middle bench only, and somebody accidentally picked it up and put it on the middle bench, and somebody was going to buy it. I'm like, no. But then I just realized, no, I could have took cuttings off of these. I could have sold it after all. I didn't. So usually my lemongrass are up to my nose this time of year, but you know I had to start everything over again. So usually my lemon verbenas are up this tall and things are bigger, but you can blame it on Earth Day. But I keep learning. I mean, plants keep you humble because you'll never know it all. The more you learn, the more you know you don't know. So it's like, it's a great profession to keep you humble. So anyway, this is the mullein, and the leaf helps to support lung function. You know, and that's another cool thing with plants. They're a whole like laboratory of constituents. Each plant has a whole laboratory of constituents. And then even traditions use them in sometimes different ways, sometimes in the same way. This is the echinacea from seed. You know, so these are like a 3 to 5 year crop that we would dig up the roots. So then I'd like to rejuvenate them, and you know, so that would be this year. You know, I try for more, but the finches get those seeds way before I do. I'd have to almost net them in order to collect some of the seeds. And then you'll see more buckwheat over there. And I put in some elderberries, but they're getting just devoured by thistles. Not sure what to do about that, but I am using cardboard and leaves. The thistles seem to be competing though. So here's a couple cool crops. Here's Celtial, and you might recognize these little flowers from growing in the grasses. Um, so this is a native plant, and it's like comfrey, only comfrey is demulcent and this is astringent. So for people who have skin conditions that, are having difficulty getting rid of skin conditions, and you want something that's a little more drying, this is a great choice. And then behind that we have skullcap. That's another native plant, but we have it in cultivation here. Scutellaria lateriflora. So another one in the mint family. So anyway, great for the nervous system. And then here's my lemon balm patch. You think I like lemon balm?
It's your biggest one.
So usually we harvest as it's coming into flower, which we did. But I think like usually then it goes vegetative, and it all went into flower. And we're thinking because it was a dry spell that it stressed it out a little bit and caused it to stay in a flowering stage. So I guess ideally I should just cut off the flowers and give it a little organic fertilizer and see if we can get another flush off of it for the fall, or else it won't. Once it's flowering, it's not going to go this vegetative again. So I might have to maybe take the tops off of that and try to get it to flush out one more time. That's Astragalus, about 3-year-old Astragalus. And you can see it's a legume. It's got flowers of a legume, and it'll make little pods, and I always can collect my seeds from the Astragalus and replant those too. They're really easy.